Welcome to the episode of Jay Leno's Garage. Today's car is a 1967 Ford Fairlane. Hardly a stock Ford Fairlane. You know, for those of us that grew up doing Ford's total performance period during the 60s, I was a kid at the time, and I loved all the Ford stuff, the Cobras, the Thunderbolts, the Mustangs. I mean, my dad had the 7-liter Galaxy. I loved the mid-60s Ford. And the Fairlane was, of course, their mid-sized car. It's hard to believe a car this big was considered mid-sized, but this was smaller than the Galaxy and bigger than the Falcon. And I remember they made a GT version with the 390. This one has a very, very special motor, and it's still Ford, but we'll get into it in just a minute. Let's meet Steve Strope, the builder of this car. Steve, how are you? Beautiful job.
Thank you, sir.
You might remember Steve, he did Joe Rogan's Corvette. Remember this one? People love that one. And this is another one of his beautiful creations. I always liked this body style, the mid-60s Ford.
Yeah.
66, 67, 65. I always liked those. So tell us what we have here. Did it start, was it just a regular Fairlane? Was it a Fairlane GT originally? What was it?
This was a plain Jane, grandma out of Texas, light green, 6-cylinder Fairlane.
Right.
And the idea behind the build was, I like when we do a higher end build, we do a little what if story, because it kind of makes sense of, oh, that's why you chose to do that or chose to do this. So you know how GM has their skunk works.
Right.
Well, I created well, what if Ford had a thing called Black Ops?
Right.
And they were preparing for the upcoming 67. The Fairlane was what they used in NASCAR and drag racing. Right. So how about a test car that's not chained by rules, because we're not going to put this car into competition.
Right.
So we can use our motor that is illegal in NASCAR.
Right.
And we see people in Can-Am using active aero, like air braking.
Right.
And there's those adjustable torsion bars that other companies are using. Let's incorporate that into a test car.
Right.
And see what happens, what we can learn from it, and then maybe put it on our cars in our competition. So it's a total what if prototype skunk works kind of car.
Well, now the engine out of the bag. Tell people what engine it is. It's one of my favorite Ford.
Yeah, the big all aluminum, what, 6-foot chain?
Yeah, 8-foot chain.
8-foot chain.
8-foot timing chain.
Good old sock motor.
The sock motor, the single overhead cab form motor. This is used primarily in powerboat racing.
Yeah, it went on to be, and they tried some, in fact, Ed Pink was one of the guys who made it successful in NHRA racing, because that chain gave them fits trying to get everything in time, and I believe he had told me he advanced the one cam quite a bit to catch up with the other one, or because the chain stretch and all the other stuff they had going on.
Maybe it's my imagination. Didn't they at one point have a gear-driven version of this motor?
I think somebody, I don't know if Ford did it, but somebody tried to do it.
I would love to see one of those. That would be fantastic.
I believe I've seen a photo of that. I think your memory is correct, but I don't remember who did it.
Well, it's just a beautiful, beautiful job, and it just sits right. You know what's so funny? Cars that sit right somehow are right to me.
Yes, like stance is everything.
It really is.
Stance is everything.
Good posture, my mother would say.
Indeed.
Good posture.
Not a lot changed externally. Slight flare on the front fender. The rear, the quarter panel's actually lifted about 2 inches. This lip used to be down here a couple of inches. So it was cut and brought up, and this was actually brought in a little bit, and it just changed visually. It's a little more aggressive and not so fender skirt wheel covery. So a whole bunch of modifications that you actually couldn't tell unless I told you about it. Yeah. Other than that, the body is pretty much stone stock. There's a lot of metal work moved around in the engine bay to make room for that motor, and of course the active aero wing. But other than that, externally, it's a stock vehicle. We did fiberglass bumpers, and on the front bumpers, we removed the square marker light turn signals on the ends, and we put in a 67 Cougar round lights and molded it in, just to change the look a little bit. But other than that, it's a 67 Fairlane.
Now, according to the gear lever, it looks like a top-loader 4-speed. Is it not, or is it a 6-speed Tremec? What do you
No, it's a good old...
Oh, good old 4-speed.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And what rear end race are you running in there?
I think in this we're running around 350s.
Oh, okay. So like a 354 probably.
Yeah, right around there. It's a quick change from Speedway.
Okay.
Which, again, if you're testing and racing and trying stuff, you can change your gears easy for different tracks or what have you.
And what do we have here?
That is how you get in the car.
Oh, I see.
Cleaned up the aerodynamics. You just lift up. You just lift up. And
oh, I see. That's okay. Very cool.
I came up with ideas.
That's stupid of me. I see. There you go. yeah. Oh, very nice.
Simplicity. And the dash I removed, it had a giant dash pad.
Right,
I
right.
removed that and just made this little dash padette. And then just some straightforward gauges, kind of a little nod to the Ford GT with the speedometer being over on
Right.
the
Oh,
end.
yeah. Well, this was the year, of course, '67. This is Ford's heyday. They won them
Right.
all. They were winning everything.
Right.
It really was.
And
the
another
total
little throw, besides being some of my favorite wheels ever, since Ford was a little upset with Ferrari, running wheels from Mr. Lamborghini
Oh, I see.
would be a nice little insult
Those
too.
are Lamborghini wheels, aren't they?
Now, they look exactly like the mirror wheel. Those are made by EVOD. They're made from a giant chunk of aluminum. They're one piece, and they're
Wow.
a 6-pin
You know
true
something?
knockoff.
My magnesium wheels are probably starting to get a little dated on me.
Yeah,
I
these are
should- they-
15.8 and 15.10, but yeah, EVOD made them for us. They made the program, and then I gave them backspace and all. But
Right.
yeah, they started as one solid chunk of aluminum and then milled, but they are a true pin drive knockoff.
Yeah. Wow, that's very.
They came out beautiful.
Boy, nicely done.
Thank
And
you, sir.
Tell us about the any significance to the color combination, or is that just what the owner liked?
I liked the color. If it was parked next to Mario Andretti's NASCAR, it probably wouldn't be the same, but it's kind of clear to the light blue. But the striping is this. On the Fords, they had this little insert here.
Right.
Like, say, if you had a white car, this would be red.
Right.
So I threw that in for heritage towards Ford's racing, and then added the GT styled striping on the side just to give it some more color to it. But other than that, no, just a real pretty late medium blue and with this nice gold.
It's so funny I didn't recognize those wheels, but they are. Those are the Lamborghini Miura wheels.
And that's the fender badge from the early Cobra, which I
Right.
thought was another nice little Ford-esque
yeah.
throw, and it goes great with the car.
And it's all Ford. You know, it always makes me laugh
Yes.
because the Ring brothers were here with a Mustang that had a Chevy engine in it.
Oh, yeah.
And the comments, the hate. People
Yeah.
are just furious.
Yeah.
You have to learn to live together. I mean, come on, you know. But this is all Ford all the way.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, open the hood. Let's show people that great engine.
So a lot going on.
Now, no inclination to put hood pins in it, huh?
No, we didn't.
Yeah.
Which would have made sense for the whole racing thing, but
Yeah.
we kind of kept it clean. So what happened here is that every one of my guys are involved in here in some way. They usually have their own projects. There's a guy named Pete that did a lot of the sheet metal in here, and another guy named Kelly that did a whole ton of detail work and other sheet metal work moved around. Everybody had their own projects, and everybody's talents shine through in their individual projects. So these shock towers all this is handmade.
Wow.
It doesn't have a traditional Ford. It has the upper and lower control arm and a spindle,
Right.
but instead of the coil spring that sits on top of the upper control arm, that is gone, and this is adjustable torsion bar that runs through the inside of the frame rail.
Wow.
So that we worked with Schroeder, and some
sure.
pieces
Yeah.
he had, and then we made everything to work from there.
Well, we'll put this up on the lift later, and we'll show the underside of this car.
Oh, yeah,
it's
yeah.
It's really beautiful. And I love how you've sort of, well, you haven't lost it, but you certainly put it out of the way. The alternator?
Yeah, everything's tucked down low.
Yeah.
You just want to see this jewel.
Yeah, boy.
But it came out nice. So the intake was a made piece. I wanted something that looked like a prototype Mickey Thompson kind of a deal. So these are 4 individual 2 barrels
Right.
with the old Le Mans bowls on the ends. So again, they're fiddling, they're prototyping. There's no rules. It's not going to
Wow.
be put
Yeah.
in a specific
And no
race
air conditioning
series.
or anything like that.
No.
Well, you
turn
don't need
the-
air conditioning in Texas.
Sure, he's got cars with AC.
Wow, yeah, wow.
But it came out nice, and it runs great. And thanks to Frank and everybody at Ed
And it
Paints.
runs on pump gas?
Yeah, 91 octane. Right.
Oh, that's
right.
great. You know, I hate it when people show up with stuff that makes all this horsepower, but the fuel is like $9 a gallon. You can only get it in a 5-gallon. It's like, well, you can't really drive it. This
Yeah.
Just pull it into any gas station.
Yeah, this will take.
And what
you
are we
normal-
making? 650?
Yeah, mid
Something like that?
600s, and it was
Okay.
mild tuned because he's
Yeah.
going to be driving around. These motors are capable of making much more.
Right.
So it makes enough to get itself in trouble.
And this was the highest revving Ford motor in the period, wasn't it? What, 7,500, I think, was the red line in
Yeah,
this?
it was something crazy.
Which doesn't sound like a lot now, but back in the
Oh,
60s.
no, yeah,
you're
everything
moving
was-
that much metal that fast. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that wasn't the
pretty
norm. The things were probably clipping around $6
amazing.
grand.
Cool. Well, before we take it for a drive, let's put it up on the lift and show you what it looks like. Okay, we got the car up on our sterile Coney lift here. Now this car gets driven, so it's not as clean as it could be, but it's pretty clean underneath. It's a pretty clean build under here.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, this is where you really see the difference between the men and the boys here. You know, a lot of guys build stuff, and underneath it looks like spaghetti bolognese or something that just wires going everywhere.
Yeah.
But look how clean this is, how nicely done it is. And this is all fabricated stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Even stuff you can't tell, like the frame rails, we moved.
Oh, I see.
And altered them. Well, not only this, but this area kicked out more, got in the way of the tire, so the frame rails were cut and brought in and then re-angled out. And then we used Detroit Speed's Mustang wheel tubs, 4 of them,
right,
and inverted, so made new wheel houses for them. And of course, you'll see a lot change. The Ford guys will notice immediately. There's no leaf springs in here.
Right, yeah.
There's cross members put in, and then there's kicker bars that come down from the roll cage. So if you see on top, this is a Speedway quick change, and if you see right here, this hole in the frame, there's a whole boxing that's put up through. This link arm coming down comes from the torsion bars hidden in the trunk. They come and sit on top of the quick change here. So this is how the car is sprung. You don't see any external springs or shocks or anything like that, just the adjustable 4 links. So, I mean, you've got your plain Jane shock, but no coilover, no spring. That's actually torsion bar hung.
Yeah.
So, and up in the front, when we get up there, the torsion bars, you can't even see. They're hidden inside of the frame rails.
Now, when you were doing this, is this something you did as you went along, or did you have all this out on paper?
It was pre-planned, and each one of the guys, I have 3 guys that work for me. Each one of the guys had a project or 2 or 3 projects they were doing.
Right.
So one guy handled the fabrication of the rear suspension and the frame. The other guy handled the front sheet metal. The other guy handled all the bracing and structure for again, Fairlane guys will notice when we get up here, this is all different, but it's all Ford. The transmission tunnel and this support beam here, this is out of a Mustang, 67 Mustang. It stopped here. We made our own hats. Coming over, this right here is added. This is an actual 2x4 rail that runs end to end, that's welded in everywhere. But it's all made to look like Ford did it, and then it just blends in.
Now this is a top loader. Why not go with a Tremec 6-speed or something like that?
Well, the car was trying to stay very focused, very Ford.
Right.
Which we were.
So you want to keep it all Ford parts?
Yeah, and we were very, very fortunate that it won the Ford Design Award up at SEMA.
Wow.
So they also enjoyed our efforts to keep it very Ford.
Right, right. Except for the Speedway rear end, it's all
the
Ford.
quick change. That for the whole theory of a what if of a prototype test car, being able to change gear ratios quickly kind of worked out.
Standard drive shaft. No?
Yeah.
So you made a stick of carbon fiber one in there.
No, not for this particular one.
Yeah,
and a lot of attention paid to the exhaust system. Again, we copied. This is kind of a setup that Holman Moody ran on their NASCARs.
Right.
And then a flat oval.
Now, why no mufflers? This thing, I heard you pull in here, and
it's a scotch loud.
Yeah.
There will be a set of mufflers made for it when he takes delivery. Again, this was kind of shock and awe when we showed up at SEMA.
You should do those electric. The
little cutouts?
The cutouts, it's got the the relay in it, you press a button and boom, it opens and closes.
I've got a feeling with mufflers on it, it'll still probably make its presence known, because we're not going to use huge mufflers. They'll be
and notice all the insulation here, very nice.
Yeah, we do a lot of heat and shielding to keep heat out of the cabin and for longevity of parts around it. So made a bracing and a mount for rack and pinion, which now goes behind instead of in front, and made room.
Is it a power rack and pinion?
No, this is manual.
Oh, manual, okay.
Yep. So lots of work done. This was done by a good friend of ours called Ace Fabrication.
Yeah.
He made the headers and the exhaust system for us.
Boy, those are beauully done.
They are absolutely beautiful. We had a lot of
art.
people on their back at SEMA crawling under the car looking at the
And what
headers.
brakes are we using here?
These are the front and rear setup are off of basically a Trans Am Mustang. So they're the Lincoln bigger brake for off the Lincoln in the front.
So you want to keep it Ford.
Right, again, on purpose, and to fit inside of 15-inch wheels.
Right.
Those are jack points built into the car that you can unbolt and just take out.
I got you.
So the rear is your 67 or 69 Mustang front brake caliper.
Right.
And up here is the bigger, heavy-duty Lincoln caliper.
Wow. Boy, I mean, there's so much detail here.
Yeah, these are the front chin spoilers on quick release pins.
And are these bumpers fiberglass?
The bumpers are fiberglass, and again, a specific guy doing a program.
And fiberglass fenders, right?
No, they're steel.
Oh, I thought I heard you say
No,
fiberglass.
just the bumper.
Oh, that's just
and
the bumper,
They're
okay.
cut and tucked and pushed in, and then this is where we added the Cougar front turn signals
Oh, I
instead of
see,
the
yeah.
rectangle lights on the end.
So what does it weigh?
You know what? I don't know if
Yeah.
I don't remember. I think we did scale it to help set the torsion bars.
Right.
But I don't remember. A lot's gutted out of it, though. It doesn't have a full
Right.
interior, but there's some weight added, too, because of all the reinforcement.
Now, have you dynamated it? Is there silencing material in there or no?
Where we can put it. Actually, one of the things we did with this car that Scotty from Dynamat loved, we unveiled the car in their booth at
Right.
Dynamat. It's got their new thick rubber floor called Dynadeck.
Yeah.
And we found a way, you're familiar with working with like German weave carpet, you have to make patterns.
Right, right.
That doesn't mold.
Right.
So you make this, that piece, and it's all
Right.
bound. My interior guy, Eric Thorson, we found a way to grind there's this Dynadeck is a thick like 1/8 inch with a 1/4 inch foam under it. Found a way to just take a little die grinder, grind an edge on it, and was able to bind the edges. So he basically did this like German weave carpet, but it's all the Dynadeck inside on the floor,
Wow.
which is heavy duty rubber. So it fit the theme of the car too.
What am I looking at here?
That is probably e-brake,
Oh, e-brake, okay.
and that's tunneling down through.
I'm trying to figure out where the mufflers would go in this. I guess it'd go right
somewhere
here.
around here. Yeah, we'll probably put it in.
I'm sure it'll be really quiet. Yeah, you're not going to be driving through any libraries. Well, very good. I think it's time to take this thing for a ride. We're not going to be talking much in this car because it's so loud. So maybe we'll do subtitles. I don't know.
Hand signals.
Yeah, let's take it for a ride. We probably won't be able to talk once this thing is running. So let's go over the gauges. What do we have here? This is oil
Oil temp,
temperature,
then oil pressure,
oil pressure, tack, of
Tachometer.
course,
and then
water.
water temp, and
a
voltmeter, yeah.
and of course,
And that's the speedometer.
speedometer.
This is an original
Engine.
10,000 hour.
wow.
Those are usually used on aircraft or
Right,
boats or
right.
whatever. And again, I thought that would be a neat thing for if it's a test car that they actually have an hour.
I guess you didn't want to spring for the horn button just a little. Too
Yeah,
expensive.
just
went a little over budget. For the horn.
couldn't handle that, so we had to cap it.
Does it have a horn?
No.
No horn. If you don't hear this thing
If you
coming,
don't hear this coming,
yeah, this is the kind of guy you have to shut the engine off to blow the horn.
this is just turn signals,
Okay.
left to right, and so start the car. You just pull out on the battery kill,
Okay, that's your battery
and then you
connect.
put the clutch in, and just
Put the clutch
turn that
in.
switch.
Okay. Oh, the wife is gonna love going for a ride in this car. The steering is very nice. I thought this would be a bear. I thought I'd be doing that, but no, it's nicely balanced.
Yeah, worked out good.
Great tractable motor, even at 2200, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's time to get some heat in it now. You set off all the car alarms.
you can.
Okay.
I'm guessing at the moment, but feels like the throttle pedal came engaged, the cable, so I don't know.
I'm the first one to drive this car even before the owner. This is kind of the shakedown cruise. And it looks like we...
Oh, it's still attached.
Maybe a throttle cable. Go ahead, hit the cable.
Huh.
You're getting a little bit, but not much.
Yeah.
Huh?
It's still attached under here, and it's still attached at the top.
Okay.
So I'm not sure what went loose. It's like there's that much extra play right there. Everything else underneath connecting the carburetors are all hard linkage.
Yeah.
And this is...
Is it slipping on the sheath underneath the pedal? You know?
I went and looked. It's a solid hole that the cable passes through with an end on it, and it's still attached to the pedal. The pedal's down to the floor. So right now I can pull on that, and right now I'm pulling the throttle pedal up off the floor.
Yeah, but okay.
So it's a, your standard like low car throttle cable.
But
so,
it's
so
slipped.
for all of it, yeah, but it doesn't feel like it. It feels solidly connected still. The pedal right now will be down to the floor.
Yeah, it is down to the floor.
And if I grab this, it'll come right up to the floor.
Now it's up.
Right.
Okay.
Like the cable's stretched or frickin' something, because it's still completely connected. Can you see right here?
Yeah, I see it.
See, I just grabbed all the slack.
Yeah.
So that's all the way down.
Okay, hang on. Let me see.
That should be...
Is it slipping at the other place?
Oh.
There it is.
I found.
Yeah, there it is.
So it's like it went...
It slipped
over,
here.
It went over center.
Yeah, yeah.
It went over center.
Okay, that's what it did.
So there needs to be another spring put on.
Yeah.
Beside what's on it to force it back. Because that's what it did. On full throttle, it went over center.
Right.
So.
See, nobody's ever
That's what
floored
these
this thing
tests
before.
are for.
Yeah.
Back through. So
it's always the little things that kill you. You do all of this, you put the torsion bars inside the frame, do the whole bit, and it's a little thing like a spring or a clip. But that's kind of the fun part about cars, because it's, even the experts don't get it right always the first time.
No, you have to shake down and
gotta
run
shake
and all
down.
the rest. And this is...
That's why they bring it here, for me to shake them down. Now, Ed, the owner, Ed, I'm sure, a very sympathetic guy. The pluses are it handles wonderfully. This steering, I thought not being power steering.
Yeah, you're going to fight it.
Boy, it really does. I mean, it feels like an assist power steering almost, you might say. It drives very nicely, and it rides nice, and it's very tight, and this engine, it's obviously way loud. You still got to do the mufflers for it. But my God, it's got all kinds of power.
It's got a lot of torque.
This feels like more than 650.
I'm sandbagging.
Yeah. I've got a Hellcat. That's 707, and this feels
healthy,
more powerful than that. So.
Yeah, and when I've driven this around a little bit before we brought it over, got the front end aligned, but I haven't gone as much throttle as you did. In fact, that much throttle we had on the dyno, of course, but that was a good thing to find out, though.
But the nice thing is everything is tight. There's no weeping. There's no seeping from any seals.
Oh, no.
Everything looks good. It's always the 10-cent part. It's a little spring,
That is true.
Yeah, very cool, very cool.
But I'm glad nothing's broken or bad.
No.
We just won't go over center with the throttle on the way home.
All right, I'm sure we have a cable or something, a spring at this shop. I got a whole box of springs that we can put. It's so funny, isn't it? With all the ICUs and all the different stuff, it's a little spring,
Yeah.
And we always get them home, just like your kids. Get them home, then tear into them. You never tear into it in the street, so we will get this thing home. See you later. In fact, no, wait, you know something? I'm going to show you us getting this thing home.
Okay.
A little further. A little further.
Is that good?
Okay, shut it off. Okay, we got her back. Let's open the hood and we'll discuss what happened.
Still nice and cool.
It is nice and cool. Everything ran fine. The throttle cable came over center. See, it's got two pieces of a two-piece throttle cable. And can we show that?
I think so. So this linkage right here, when you're accelerating, comes like this, and it went so far that it stuck over center. It got stuck here, like that. So the throttle pedal went dead.
So that's kind of the fun part about this website. Guys like Steve bring the build to us, and we get to drive it first. And believe me, there's no better builder. Nobody gets it exactly right the first time. But this is the first road test of the car.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
Anything with any real form of acceleration, yes, definitely.
I mean, so what we need to do is probably bleed the brakes a little bit, because brake pedal's kind of soft.
Yep.
And we need to obviously fix that cable. But I think Ed, the owner, is going to be very pleased. I mean, structurally, power-wise, geez, it's all there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it really goes good.
And I'm real happy with how it rides, actually.
It rides
it's
very
pleasant.
nicely. It steers very nicely. And it's fun to put it up on the lift, so you guys at home, if you're building something yourself, you get a chance to see, see how the experts do it. And maybe you pick up a tip or two, especially that little throttle thing, you know?
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of people commenting on that. So.
Oh, I'm sure.
But no, but see, I appreciate that, because
No,
see, a lot
thanks,
of times people say, no, don't put that in, you can't. No, I mean, you saw every single thing that went wrong with this build. This is the first drive of a new build, and if that's the worst thing that goes wrong, that's pretty good. So, Steve, thank you very much.
Thanks, Jay.
And Ed, the owner, don't worry, I didn't do a burnout. See you guys next week.